Hey, Bayek, it's me, Ian, and in today's video, I'm going to look at this. This is The Go-Between from 1971. And I'd just like to thank Tony for sending this to me. It's the third one in the Amazon package. And thank you so much. I really enjoyed this film. Now, some of you may be asking, hey, Bayek, what is it about? Well, it comes under the banner of period romance drama. Is in what? Yes, yes. I love it. I love films. Anyhow, films are so important. They have been in my life. Even though I've not seen half of them almost, but the ones I've seen I've really liked. And yes, so here we are. It's 116 minutes long. Yes, so it's quite long. It's a winner, I'll just put this in, of the 1971 Cannes Film Festival, the Palme d'Or. Oh, right. Posh stuff here, I'll tell you. And on Rotten Tomatoes, would you believe it? It has got 100%. Yes. Wow. Yeah, the critics absolutely loved it. I think it's got a reputation, though. It did well in the box office, yeah. Has been more of an art kind of film, but I remember seeing this in one of the film clubs that I was in on the big screen. It may have been on the TV. It possibly has, but it didn't get many television appearances. And over the years, it kind of disappeared until it's been revived and people have suddenly discovered it again. But I think also the fact is that the director really adds to its sort of acclaim, I think, as well, because of one of the other films he did. Anyway, let's just talk about the screenplay. It's written by Harold Pinter, who's one of these, important playwrights in 1950s, 1960s, 1970s, carrying on. It's from a working class background. He was that sort of new generation that were coming up, and they were making a big name for themselves. A play he did called The Birthday Party was a massive, massive success. And he wrote screenplays, or adapted screenplays, should I say, as well. And The Servant is an important one because of the director he collaborated, which was Joseph Losey, who directed this film. And they really work well together. And The Servant is one of those films that is iconic in many ways in film history, as this has become as well, I think. So he did the screenplay for this film, and also The French Lieutenant's Woman, 1981. He did a screenplay for that, and that is very well regarded as well. It's based on a 1953 novel, The Go-Between, by L.P. Hartley. So I just thought I'd put that in. It's directed, of course, I mentioned Joseph Losey. Losey was an American director who basically was in this country because he was on the Hollywood blacklist, which came, with the Red Scare, communist frenzy, which developed Hollywood, and he couldn't still, even after that had passed, really get work in Hollywood. So he came over here, and he started to build up a variety of films that he was in. He was involved in Eva 1962 as a director, which was an Italian-French production, which we mentioned before, because Stanley Baker was in that. So it was a European kind of film, that one. He was also in a Hammer film, The Dam, 1963. He directed that. Yes, he was involved in The Dam, 1963. He was also, as I say, the director of The Servant, 1963. The Servant, with Harold Pinter. It's just an amazing film. Dirk Bogart in that one. Yes. Modesty Blaze he did as a director. Spy Comedy, 1966, which is a very interesting film. And of course, he did this film, Galileo, which is very well received as well. That's from 1975. Now, let's look at the cast. The cast is Julie Christie. She plays Lady Marianne. Dr. Zhivago, Far From the Madding Crowd, 1967. Sorry, Dr. Zhivago was 1965. She was in, of course, a film I absolutely adore. Nicholas Roeg's Don't Look Now from 1973. Donald Sutherland. She's in that. Wow. What a film. She's still acting, She's still going. She was also in a very interesting film, 1977, Demon Seed, which is a sci-fi horror film about AI. Oh, yes. Ahead of the game there. And just a later film that you might like to know she was in. She was in the Harry Potter film, 2004, Prisoner of Azkaban, which is considered perhaps one of the best Harry Potter films. Hey, back. Then we've got Edward Fox as Viscount Hugh Tringing. He was in, again, he just goes back. He's got loads of films, but films I'd pick out. Battle of Britain, I was mentioning that, 1969. And of course, he starred and became an international name with The Day of the Jackal from 1973. Fantastic. He was in Galileo, so we've got already a link with those. See, it was in a horror film called Cat and the Canary. There's loads of films. I just thought I'd mention that. Then we've got Alan Bates. Alan Bates, he was a very recognisable actor for certain kinds of films in this 60s, 70s. He was in Far From the Maddening Crowd with Julie Christie as well. That was from 1967. She was important part of that film. But most, perhaps controversially, the film he was in was Ken Russell's Women in Love from 1969. D.H. Lawrence story. Similar class kind of themes, which is interesting if we look at. Fascinating, absolutely fascinating film, but controversial. One with Oliver Reed, Glenda Jackson. Yes, what a film that was. Then I think they're the ones I'll just mention. There are more, but perhaps you wouldn't have heard of them. But there we are. I've just put them down. Then we got Michael Redgrave playing older Leo. Battle of Britain again, 1969. Nicholas and Alexandra, 1971. Wow, amazing. The Redgrave family, he goes right back. And of course, his children, the whole family, all have an acting dynasty. And it's still there today. Then we've got Dominic Gard playing young Leo. He was in Picnic at Hanging Rock. He was in Voice Pippin in Lord of the Rings 1978 and Gandhi 1982. Now he's retired and does, he's changed jobs, not retired. He's a child psychotherapist. But he's excellent. This is in his debut film, really. Dominic Gard as young Leo. Then we've got Michael Gough. I'm not mentioning everybody in this film, but I have to mention Michael Gough. He plays Mr. Maudsley. He was in the Hammer film Dracula. His CV is fantastic. He was also the villain in The Phantom of the Opera 1962, another Hammer film which I mentioned. He was in Dr. Terror's House of Horrors 1965, the Amicus, first Amicus film. He was in Galileo, yes. But a lot of you might, maybe younger ones, would say, Batman, yes, 1989, Batman. He was in Batman Returns, 1992. He was in Batman Forever, 1995. And Batman and Robin, 1997, playing Alfred. Hey, bye. And I've got to have a Doctor Who link. Yes, he was in Doctor Who. He was in the third season story as the Celestial Time Maker. Sadly, there's only one episode surviving, I think, of that, and that's 1966. There we are. And then just one more I could go on, but I'll just mention him because I think it's worth mentioning. Is Roger Lloyd Pack plays Charles. He, of course, he's famously known, was playing Trigger in Fools and Horses, Only Fools and Horses, British TV comedy series, 1981 to 2003. A much-loved character he was in that. But he also was in quite a few films, not very big parts, but he was in Doctor Who. He was in the second season or series, whatever you want to say, of the revival of Doctor Who in 2005. He was in the 2006 David Tennant's Rise of the Cybermen and the Age of Steel. There you are, I'll just get that in. And you're thinking, Bayek, he's going on a bit. Let me just talk as well. The location is very important. The way it was filmed, obviously, in the countryside and the big house. That was Melton Constable Hall. And then there was great filming in the church. That was in Hayden and the village. All this is in Norfolk. And also there was filming in Norwich. Remember the cathedral? And wonderful, brilliant filming that was there. I love that atmosphere. The whole film has a lush kind of technicolor feel about it, but he's also got that sort of lazy, almost long summer days, hot summer days, and it's got that in the film as part of it, part of all what it's about in many ways. The music as well, I must mention, by Michel Legrand. Wow, the music. It's got such a wonderful classical feel. I absolutely adore the music. And it just sticks in the mind. It's very much part of the film, the whole film. You may be wondering, hey, mate, what's film about? It's going on again. Well, film is really, it's, the basic story is Leo comes to visit. He's, for the summer, I suppose, he's been invited to this big hall, this big aristocratic family, much more richer than he is. There's already a class difference there. He's not from a real poor background. He's quite well educated and that. But I say that well educated, but this is a time when he's learning. He's just approaching the adolescence period, and he kind of takes a fancy to Lady Mariam, which is Julie Christie, and she is having an affair. Oh, it could be more than that, with the Alan Bates character, Ted Burgess, who is the farmer. So it's like we're almost like the Lady Chatterley lovers kind of syndrome. And this is very sort of typical in many ways of what appears on the surface is not what's going on in these aristocratic families. And the characters that she's going to even marry, which is Edward Fox, he plays Viscount Hugh Trimion. And also the Michael Gough character, Mr. Maudsley. They almost accept that this is going on, but no, that it's just something that happens that they don't talk about much, but they know it. It's there mentioned. They know, as far as they're concerned, what he's like. Ted Burgess, they see him as a womanizer and somebody, it's just there doing it. It's showing a lot of the hypocrisy already in the society, but ultimately she knows she's got to marry the Viscount. She's going to marry him. And Leo is used as an in-between, well, as a go-between, sending messages between the two lovers, if you want to put it like that. And of course, it's all for him a process of learning, and he builds a kind of relationship with both of them, with Lady Marianne and also Ted Burgess. And it's fascinating watching that because it's more about his awakening, and he starts to see exactly what is going on here, and we get a view of it as well. But interestingly, the way it films, we get a fast forward about what these little clips which build up to the very ending of the future of what's going to happen. So maybe that doesn't sound very exciting, but the way it's filmed is absolutely amazing. It's so well filmed, an absolute treat. It is an absolute treat. I can't say more than that, really. If you look deeper into it, we know it's all about class. It's all about how Victorian society is going into the Edwardian era, and 1914 is there looming ahead, and 1914 totally changes everything. And the whole class system is in for a big shake-up to some extent, and there's all the drama and massive change into the modern world, if you want to put it, of 1914. But we're seeing this snapshot. It's not there yet. Everything looks good, idyllic. Britain rules the waves. Everything's great. The long summer, but it isn't, of course. And we're seeing glimpses of that, of what's it. And that's what it's about, really. And it's beautifully done. I just totally engaged in the whole film. I love these period things where there's a lot going on, even though not everybody would agree. They probably say, hey, Mike, there's not a lot going on at all. But I loved it. Honestly, I was totally absorbed in it. And I think when you know the history, and you just get a whole feel of that period. It's absolutely fascinating, and I love it. Absolutely love it. So again, thanks Tony for sending me this film. It's been wonderful. As I say, I have got connections with it, but very vague ones, and this has totally reignited my enthusiasm even more. And let me just show you this. This is the special edition. This came out in 2019. It's a full restoration. Look at this. Yeah, slipcover. And just inside, quick look, got the disc, wonderful disc. We've got here the booklet, which goes into loads of detail about the film. And then we've got some art cards, beautiful, stylish art cards. What a wonderful edition this is. Highly recommended. It really is. And that's it. I'm done. Bye, you say, I bet you're done, lad. Hey, anyhow, if you're a new subscriber to the channel, please subscribe. And, yeah, you'll find out on what I review and, all the different interests I have, films and TV series, movies, culture, stuff. I don't know whether it's culture, but, collecting and everything. Anything like that, and buy it. And if you like this video, please give it a like. Helps with algorithms. And hopefully more people will see it. And then if you've got any comments, please put your comments down. I really do love to read your comments. Fantastic. I really do. And say all cost no. So nowadays you can't say fairer than that, can they? Hey, buy it. You can't. So all I've got to say is I'll see thee again.